Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Kickback. I am your host, the Dude. I want to start off by saying I apologize to everyone for last week. It was human error. Charge it to my heart, not my head. It was human error. Running around doing things and just forgot. I had so much going on that I forgot that I had a show. So I apologize and I hope everyone forgives me. But we're back. We're here. Great conversation with some great men. Welcome to the Kickback.
No, it's been like years though. Like that years that they didn't drive. Like, about or something. But it's like where his parents went wrong. So his parents something went wrong somewhere because like a lot of these they feel sure because I'm your child, I'm entitled. I don't have to do nothing extra. I don't have to do nothing more than what I need to do. You're supposed to give it to me. How do we get to that? How do we get to a place where because we carry the same last name, you're supposed to give me whatever I want? Right, right, right. I think we all wish we had a version of the man that we are when we were boys. I think we wish we had that. And I think that's the reason why our children are the way they are, is because the version of us that we are, we wish we had as a parent. And so I'm not saying that we're wrong or they were wrong. Our parents were simply in a different, and I told my wife this, I said, our parents was in a different version of survival mode than we are. Everybody's in survival mode, but it looks different to everybody. It looks totally different to everybody. Everybody's version of survival mode looks different. Whether it's I'm saving money or disciplining this way or living this way, everybody's version of survival looks different. But at the same hand, even with all those different versions of survival, we're still coming out with the same resorts with our children. Not everybody's children are like this, but the vast majority of the children have this mindset. It's like I was talking to one of my coworkers today, and she was saying her 17, 17, 18-year-old son, he's about to graduate this year. And I think she said, he's my neurodivergent son. He's all he neurodivergent, I think is what she said. Yeah. But what she described was she said she will hear him in his room playing video games, talking to the people on the video games, but when she calls him out of the room, she can barely get him to say anything. And so now he's a senior in high school and he has friends that want to hang out with him. And one of his friends has got a car, and his friend showed up to the house and was like, "Hey, let's go hang out, blah, 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 blah." And he came out and was like, "You gonna send me out into the world with these people? I don't want to go out into this world." And she was like, "Listen, you getting out of this house today. You finna go out with your friends. You're not finna sit in here on this video. Your friend is here to pick you up." She said, "I vetted the little boy, asked him questions, talked to him, whatever." But she was like, "And he's a good boy. I know his mama, blah, 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 blah. And so I know my son will be okay." And I had to make my son go with his friends and hang out. Right. Right. Okay. Okay. What? Oh, Trayvon. Right. And I told him, "You're right. You're right. And it would be great for that scene. I think you would be great for that scene." But like you said, when you write on rules, Mm-mm, no, no, it's not. No, no, stop vaccinating the kids. Stop vaccinating the children. Vaccines are horrible. Let's take away the education department. Department of Education, let's take that away. That seems more suitable. Let's You talking about what her name is? You talking about her? She said from bell to bell, no what how the commercial go? No posting from bell to bell. Let's take phones out of school. From bell to bell, no post. But you okay? But uh, right. But see, what I'm doing is what they're doing. Is you what you just is right when you use what is said and written in front of them, turn left and bring up something else. Le- Right. You knew I was going there. Thank you, sir. May I have some more? Thank you, sir. Can I have some more porridge? but yeah. But how many people are really going to honestly stand up in front of a group of people and say that? Because yes, yes, it is true. Right, right, yes, second, yes, second person. Was it his grandpa or was it his father? Right, gotcha. Yes, okay. Then, hey, look here, man. We all got a story. We all got a story. Some of us know how to. Some of us know how to make it look better. Sounds like somebody's outside and they got some good old crickets in the backyard. It ain't a little bit. We were just talking. I started out the conversation talking about a Father's Day, being a father and being a man, and how we carry all of this burden, but we're not celebrated for it. I say, being a father and being a man and being a father comes with so much burden. Why are we not celebrated for it? All right, but that's what I'm saying. We're the beast of burden. We're the burden carrier. You know, we suffer in silence, but we create victories that everybody can see. But when yeah, bring it. Okay. Oh, shit. Right. Yeah, yeah. I can't. From my perspective, I can't. In the marriage I'm in now, being married to a hyper independent woman that doesn't exist. I cannot. She will not let me. And it let me. I'm not meaning it in a bad way, but she will not let me carry all the burden. And oh man, I drug the swamp. Dragged the swamp. Dragged it. I dragged the swamp. I kissed the lot. So well, man, if I wouldn't have met her, I think I would have drained the swamp and just drunk all the water. No, no, you're right. I totally agree with you. Right, but I agree with your first statement. We really don't want what we're looking for, and a lot of us can't be honest about that. A lot of us cannot be honest with ourselves, and I think at the bottom line of all of it, that statement, we can't be honest with ourselves. applies across the board when it comes to a lot of situations. And it's not just a man thing. I think that's a human thing because, Mark, like I've told you, I see the world similar to the way you see the world. And I have been honest with myself about a lot of things now because I've gotten the revelation on the other side of life. And I don't like the way the world looks sometimes. It's like I was having a conversation with my wife tonight, and it's a situation that's happening with me and my ex-wife, and really, I really would like to have an honest conversation with her. But I told my wife tonight, I said, if I really told this woman how I felt about the situation, she'd be ready to fight me. And I was like, and I'm like, I cannot be honest with her because she cannot take accountability for her role in what is happening right now. With I don't know what's going on with me. I'm breaking up. I don't know why. True. I totally agree. I totally agree. Right. Comfortability. Comfortability. People are afraid to step outside of their comfort zone. Right. And we go ahead. He was a hustler. But listen though, on that point, if you read some of the financial literacy, they talk about the life of a drug dealer versus the life of a corporate man. And what they say is a drug dealer has more foresight than most businessmen. Right. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. He is a businessman, but he has more foresight than a college educated businessman because here's the thing you have to illegally acquire product, you have to sort out your clientele, and then you have to keep said product hidden so you don't get caught with it and convicted. So you have to mastermind all of these things. You have to acquire it. You have to you have to keep it, stocked up. It's all these things, and he sees the foreseeable future. Okay, if a customer comes in, and it's not a customer that normally comes in, I'm not going to sell to you because I don't know you. Right. So it that me. But we were talking about foresight. And I think what you were saying, some people just stand dreamers only get good sleep, but the protagonist is the person who follows through. But I think a lot of protagonists come from their environment, the way they grew up, how they had to strategically do things and maneuver through life. You had to think 5, 6, 7 steps ahead because you might have not ate, and not everybody might have not ate, or you knew that your grades wasn't good, so you knew you had to figure out how to get in the house, slide your report card on the table so your daddy can sign it. You go in the room, you go take you a shower, get in the bed, and try to sleep before they get to their report card. Right, right. But some of us have lived it. That may have been the wrong. That may have been the wrong example, but okay, it was a wrong example. Okay, so my bad, my bad. Okay. So you figure out, okay, today's Friday, tomorrow's Saturday. So today, while you were at school, you figured out you wanted to go see your friend on the other side of town tomorrow. So you're thinking 5 steps ahead on how you gonna be able to convince your mom or dad or whoever to give you some money and how you're going to get to said friend on the other side of town. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, exactly, exactly. Yes, right, right, right. And I don't know if you were here. I talked about everybody lives in their own version of survival mode. Yes, I'm talking about the whole entire spectrum. Yeah. Yes, you have to have a level of honesty within yourself. You have to you have to have a level of honesty within yourself. And like you said, everybody's not ready to be that honest with themselves. And as I said, time and time again, the first lie is told inside of your brain. The first lie, before it even comes out your mouth, the first lie is told inside your brain. And then once it hits your lips, you're trying to convince the rest of the world of the lie that you've convinced yourself of. No, I mean, your lived reality is your reality. But 9 times out of 10, okay, if I walked up to you and said, Mark, how are you today? How are you feeling today? Are you going to tell me the truth? Or in your mind, you're going to come up with an answer, man? Right. 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 Why why in your mind, why is it the first thought in your mind that people really don't care about how you feel? That's that's but you and have you ever thought about that's a trauma response? Do you really care about how I feel? Or here's what I'm saying. When you respond with, "Are you just being courteous, or do you really care how I feel?" Do you not feel like that's a trauma response to someone making you feel like the way you feel did not matter? Right, right. But that's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make. You don't know how sincere that person really is, but your trauma response makes you feel like, hell, don't nobody care. Yeah, for me, right, right. It does not mean that I'm not saying that you're in a that this is where we miss it. Saying that you're in a traumatic situation right now. I'm just saying it could have been somebody you really cared about in your life. Your dad, and I'm not saying this is truth. I'm just giving some examples. It could have been your dad. It could have been a teacher. It real sorry. It could have been anybody that told you, man, I don't give a damn about your feelings, or they made you feel like they didn't care about your feelings. Right. And see, I get what you're saying. So this is where I'm leading down this path is this. And this is what I've been explaining to my wife because my wife is always talking about that's a childhood trauma. That's a childhood trauma. You know where most of the traumas I have at 46 come from? Being an adult. Being an adult. I've got more wounds being an adult male in this world than I ever got being a child. I, that, that's the reason why I'm asking these questions is because for me, I'm trying to get an understanding of why men have such responses to questions like, "Hey, brother, how you feeling today?" And your response, and nothing wrong with your response because I've gotten that. I've gotten that a lot of times, but we don't think as men that someone is being truly sincere when they ask that question because I asked that question to men and they look at me and they process the question. And a lot of times I get, bro, I'm okay, I'm good. But then later on, you come to find out that that brother wasn't actually good in that moment, but his pride or bravado or whatever the case may be in that moment would not let him open up and be honest that something was going on. Yeah, right. Now, hold on real quick. Hold your question. Now that goes back to the original topic talking about fathers. And remember how we were talking about how we got ourselves into this? We got ourselves into this situation because at some point in our lives, as quote unquote men, we felt like we couldn't be less masculine. So
we had to tell our wives, go sit down, and we gonna take on all of this stuff. And that's how a lot of us wind up, like you said, Mark, in the wheelchairs or bedridden or something like that. Now, what's up, Bubba? What's your question? Now, yeah, but hold on. Okay, get your thoughts together real quick. Let me give you all an example of something, okay? Let me give you all an example of something real quick. So, me and the wife went on vacation, right? And she was taping me doing something or another. And I was just being me and just having a good time and having fun and just being Joe. Just being Joe. I'm going to say Joe, not the dude, because dude is the host of the show, but Joe is the man that I am. I'm Joe. So I was just being me or whatever. She ran into a male friend of hers and he said, "What's up with your husband? The way he was moving is kind of questionable. He a little soft or something." Yeah, he called me suspect. And my wife, being my wife, defending, she said, "That's just my husband being my husband. He's a man. He takes care of his household. He does what he's supposed to do. That's just him having fun." But yeah, another man, another man called me suspect. It- but, but why? Right, right. Come on with it. No, say it. That's the whole point. Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right. Right. Exactly. Right. 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 They ready to defend their positions as soon as they walk in the room. Yes, 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 sir. That is, that is right there. That is right there. Yeah, he's talking about slave trade. He's talking about the slave trade. True, very true. Now, how does all of this play into masculinity and fatherhood? Because we talked about how we have created our own downward spiral as men. We've become so prideful that we've set our partners down and put on, as Bubba said, I'm gonna put on this armor and I'm going to carry everything on my back. That, that's a true statement. We were taught to protect it. Right. That is. That is. That's how what Bubba said is how we loop all of this back together. And I don't think Mark, we talk about this all the time. You guys have hit on it tonight. You think 5 or 6 steps ahead. A lot of people don't think that way. And a lot of people cannot be honest. I'm just roping everything together because we finna get out of here in about 5 minutes. But I'm just roping everything together. We as people have not been, in my opinion, completely honest with ourselves. Some of us have. Mark, you're like Bubba said, you're an entity, sir. You are an entity. I am headed towards the space of being an entity because I can totally understand and feel what you said. Like Bubba said earlier, I'm gonna co-sign on everything you said, and everything you said tonight, I co-sign with. I didn't disagree with one thing you said tonight. Everything you said was on point. But here's the baseline about all of this: we have been misled as a race of people, and I ain't say no color, a race of people that masculinity defines who we are. It's a part of us, but like I said in the example that I gave you, I'm Joe and I'm comfortable being Joe. Just like Bubba said about his daddy. Hey, you can call me. I get called ma'am. I've been called ma'am a couple of times. I'll be talking to some of my female coworkers, and they say, "Girl, you know what I mean?" And I'll be like, "Yep, I know what you mean." But that doesn't mean that I'm gay or anything. But I'm comfortable with who I am. I've been Joe with a penis for 46 years. I know what it's used for, and I know what it represents.
But toxic, like Dave said, we have gotten to a point of toxic masculinity, and the toxic masculinity has been what has been defining us as a people, a gender for years. Toxic masculinity is what has defined us as a people for years, and we need to get away from that. Well, damn, he said ain't nothing else to be said. That was wrapped up in a tight little bow. Listen, 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 listen. The way I describe this place, and I tell people all the time, and I don't want y'all to take it the wrong way, but I describe this place all the time is that it's anti-church. But what I mean by that, it is not church led, but God is always in it. God is always first and foremost in this. God gave me this idea. And like y'all talked about a dream and all of those things, I had dreams, I had visions, I had all of that. But I had the foresight to make it work. And we're here. And I thank all of you all every day. Man, I'm getting to it. If you give me a moment, I'm getting there. What's up, baby? You want me to extend it? All right, y'all give me a minute. Y'all give me a minute. I'm gonna go out and come back in.